Well, thank you so much. It's really a delight to be here today. Pa Win, thank you very much for your hospitality for this important event. It's wonderful to see my wonderful old friend, Pa Santiago. He always is inspirational whenever he speaks, and today was no different, so thank you so much. David, Merrill, Irma, thank you. It's always great to see you guys as well. But I particularly want to thank Oliver and the whole Nusantara AI Institute team for inviting me today. I'm so glad to see we have a big crowd here to talk about this important topic. So as all of you know, AI has been much in the news lately between concerns that have arisen in the current war in the Gulf about the growing reliance on AI in military intelligence, in targeting, in weapons, the risk that the advent of artificial general intelligence could give advanced weapons independent decision-making on the use of lethal force, to the debates here in the United States over how double-digit growth in electricity demand from data centers could dramatically raise electricity prices and hurt the net zero targets of many countries around the world as they delay the transition to cleaner fuel sources. So at a time when the world is debating the risks of AI, I think Indonesia faces a different question, which is how to harness AI, not so much as a threat, but as a catalyst for inclusive development. So today I'm honored to speak about AI and its growing role in Indonesia, because Indonesia is really positioning itself to harness AI to accelerate economic growth, boost national competitiveness and innovation, and of course improve public services such as education. So I'll discuss a little bit about Indonesia's AI policy landscape, some of the opportunities that I think will be afforded by AI, and some of the challenges that Indonesia will face as it tries to ramp up the use of AI. So very briefly on the policy landscape, as all of you know, Indonesia has begun constructing a national framework for AI governance, anchored in its long-term development planning. A key first milestone was the release last July of the National Artificial Intelligence Roadmap that's going to guide developments for the next 20 years. I'm encouraged that the roadmap is being led by the Ministry of Communication and Digital Affairs, but also focusing on integrating AI into a wide range of sectors, from healthcare to agriculture to public services, in order to drive economic growth and enhance digital infrastructure. Importantly, Indonesia's AI strategy is focusing on key issues like ethics, talent development, data, and of course infrastructure. And it is a multi-agency effort. And Indonesia is also an important player in wider ASEAN efforts to grow AI in the ASEAN region. Turning to some of the opportunities for AI in Indonesia, I think there are several. Indonesia itself is prioritizing healthcare, education, agriculture, and transportation. So let me just look at the first two of those. First, with respect to healthcare, AI has driven a rapid global increase in research and development to identify disease targets and then crunch vast amounts of data in a way that humans never could have come up with to develop new treatments. I just read last week from Axios that MIT researchers have identified new antibiotics to use against drug-resistant bacteria after using AI to screen 36 million possible compounds. So why is this relevant to Indonesia? A large share of modern drugs still come from natural sources. And Indonesia is blessed with the world's greatest biodiversity. So Indonesia's forests, its mangroves, its marine ecosystems represent a massive chemical library that has only just begun to be explored. And AI can really be the engine to turn this library into new pharmaceutical products much faster than ever before, and thereby really be engines for growth in Indonesia's burgeoning pharmaceutical sector. Several speakers have already talked about education and skilling. President Prabowo is rightly focused on improving educational outcomes through programs such as the Free Nutritious Meals Program, and also improving training and skilling to help prepare the Indonesian workforce to be competitive in the 21st century. And AI can help with all of those tasks. In education, one of Indonesia's greatest educational challenges is delivering quality education to the inhabitants of 6,000 islands who speak hundreds of languages. And AI will be able to help. Outer island schools will be able to benefit from AI-powered offline learning apps, as well as virtual laboratories for science subjects, where physical labs may not be available. AI can also facilitate translation to support local language learning in regions like Papua and NTT and Kalimantan. And of course, AI can automate administrative tasks for teachers, freeing up time for them to spend more time teaching students. Skilling is another priority for Indonesia, as it is for every country, including my own. And here again, I think AI is going to be a major, major asset. AI can enhance micro-learning programs that provide personalized training for micro-enterprises, for farmers, for gig workers, and so many others. It can also be used to develop simulators that provide technical training for workers in sectors varying from manufacturing to healthcare to logistics and many others. Another great area of promise, as Pa Win said, is in the area of disaster forecasting. As one of the countries most subject to natural disasters, including the recent floods in Sumatra, Indonesia could benefit from enhanced use of AI-powered flood prediction models that I understand are actually already beginning to be in use in Jakarta. And these could help local governments across the archipelago to anticipate extreme weather events hours or even days before they happen, thereby saving countless lives and property. Turning to some of the challenges. As Indonesia's AI development evolves, it's going to be important to focus on several challenges that have inhibited the growth of AI in other countries. Let me just tick off a few. First is to establish, of course, a cohesive legal framework to provide certainty both for developers and users of AI systems. Second, since the lifeblood of AI is data, strong data protection laws help protect privacy and guard against misuse and abuse. Some policy experts also recommend that Indonesia remove restrictions on cross-border data transfers, especially for business and innovation purposes, because, again, data flows are going to be the cornerstone of strong AI systems. Third is to ensure the best possible digital infrastructure for Indonesian users, as Pa Sandy said. Various surveys suggest that about 80% of Indonesians are online now versus 98% in Malaysia, 96% in Singapore, and 94% in Thailand. Indonesia also lags a little bit behind those three ASEAN peers in average internet speeds and in smartphone penetration. And an obvious additional challenge for Indonesia, of course, is that while all of these countries are mostly contiguous countries, Indonesia has the challenge of connecting so many people across 6,000 inhabited islands, an enormous geographic space. But as Pa Santiago said, I think collaboration and partnership is really going to be key here, and particularly partnerships with industry. One good example, Google Cloud. We were talking about Google at our table earlier. They've announced an expansion of the computing capacity of its Jakarta cloud region to house servers, silicon chips, storage devices, and networking equipment, which is expected to contribute tens of billions of dollars to the Jakarta economy. And that's just one cloud area. So if that can be expanded across the archipelago, that would make a huge difference. Fourth, Deputy Minister Nazar, at the launch of the AI Center of Excellence, noted that one of Indonesia's most critical challenges is the talent gap. He estimated that Indonesia is going to need a talent pool of about 12 million people by 2030 to support the growth of its digital economy, including AI. and the existing digital ecosystem is only going to supply about 3 million. So the ministry has launched several capacity building programs to collaborate with global tech firms, but also with global universities and, of course, other partners. Lastly, I want to come back to the challenge we are grappling with here in the United States, which is how to grow the number of data centers to accommodate the increased use of AI while ensuring stable electricity prices for consumers. Here in America, data centers consume about 4% of our electricity, a figure that's going to triple by 2030. And like the US, Indonesia is going to have to continue to grow its energy supply to keep prices down. But unlike the US, it is a net importer of hydrocarbons. And I think a key lesson of the Iran war that is going on now has been the importance of developing energy self-sufficiency, particularly through clean energy. As we mentioned earlier, Indonesia is already one of several Southeast Asian countries that are most affected by the growing severity and number of floods, by sea level rise, by landslides, forest fires, all associated with climate change. So Indonesia has an immense opportunity to develop indigenous solar, wind, and battery storage capabilities that can not only power its growing energy needs, but also those of its neighbors, and thereby create an entirely new pole of growth because of the scale that the Indonesian economy offers. So that would be a win-win not only for energy supplies, for consumer prices, but also for climate progress. So let me conclude. Indonesia stands at a really critical juncture in the development of artificial intelligence. It has a very strong emerging policy framework. Its challenges are substantial, but I think its opportunities are immense. So I think if Indonesia can align all of the things that we've talked about, it has the potential not only to create entirely new areas of opportunity for the Indonesian people, but really establish Indonesia as a regional leader and possibly even a global leader in AI in the future. And I must say, having listened to all of the young people talking here today about the Nusantara AI Institute, I am so optimistic that this next generation is taking up the challenge in a really vigorous and important way. And I want to congratulate all of you and offer my support if I can ever be of assistance. So thank you all very much for the opportunity.